Welcome to Fairy Tale Access, where the head fairy's quest is to prove that fairy tales do exist in actual time rather than once upon a time. Together, we will unravel the heroes, young and old, who turn dreams into reality. These are the people who still believe in happily ever after. The discoveries will bend even our most cynical non-believers into believing in fairy tales. Hi, welcome to Fairy Tale Access. Today, my guests are John Rolfe and Rachel Burson, the manager and owner of Silver Chain Games. So they're going to tell us a little bit about gaming, and introduce us to a very cool card game. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, not a problem. My delight. Glad I could come.
No, we're so happy to have you. So how did all of this get started? How did you get into this type of, these are all board games, so we're not talking about computer gaming.
Nope.
Right, not at all.
Board gaming all the way.
Card games, board games, dice games, things like that. Personally, I've always loved games, and I've just gotten to the point where now I want to bring that love of gaming to other people who don't see the larger world of gaming. Like, they know Monopoly, they know Parcheesi, but there's tons of other wonderful games that you just can't get in your regular department store.
Fantastic. So what are those games? And historically, have they been around a while? Are they games?
Games have been around in one form or another since prehistory. From, ancient Egypt, Native Americans, just tons of different games. Chess, the game of kings, has been around in one form or another for centuries. But now in modern times, with people having much more luxuries and more free time, the games have taken on so much more innovation. And I call it technology, but it's really the way games are played and the different mechanics that are used in games. And when I talk about Hanabi, we'll show that.
Great. Do you want to talk about Hanabi first, and then we can get into other things, or would you like to?
Either way, but we can go through Hanabi, sure.
All right, let's go through Hanabi first.
Okay. So Hanabi is a game made by R&R Games, and
and this is what it looks like?
Yes. So what we've got is
a ton of cards.
5 different colors of cards.
Okay.
White, green, blue, yellow, red. And the cards number 1 through 5. There's more ones. There's like 3 ones, 2 twos, 2 threes, 2 fours, and 1 5 of each color. And the theme behind it is you're trying to put together fireworks for the great fireworks show. And what you have to do. Yeah. You've got clue tokens or time tokens.
Okay. Which is item number 4?
Yes.
On the contents.
So. And then you also have fuse tokens. If you make mistakes, if you make too many mistakes, everything blows up and everybody loses. This is a cooperative game. Actually, what makes it really innovative is that it's a cooperative game where everybody's working together to get the highest score. It's not competitive.
Oh, okay.
The second thing that makes it innovative is how it's cooperative. You don't get to see your own cards. Everybody else gets to see your cards.
Oh, everybody else?
You're holding them away from you.
You will actually hold the cards backwards.
Okay.
So everybody else can see them. So what happens is everyone's going to get 4 or 5 cards, and you're going to put all the little chips out on the table, and you've got your draw stack and a discard pile. What happens is that throughout the game, you're going to be able to do one thing. Either give a clue, play a card, or discard a card.
What kind of clues would you give?
Well, good question. When everybody else sees your cards, of course, they're the ones that are going to give you a clue. And what they do is they take the little time token and they flip it over to the other side, and you've got a limited amount of clues that you can give. The kind of clue you can give is you have to decide on a number or a color, like the number 4 or the color green. And then you tell that person, by indicating with your finger, tapping their cards, which cards have that quality. So what happens is with these clues, people eventually figure out what they should be playing and what they should be discarding.
Is there a certain number that you need to get up to, or?
You would like to get all 5 color piles up to 5. You have 1 pile of each color, and you put the 1 down on each pile first, and then you put the 2 on top of that, all the way up to 5. And that's how you score your points. Every card is a point. So when you're playing a card, you want the 1 to go down first. But if you make a mistake, you have your cards, and you pull one out and say, I'm going to play this card. And then you show it. If it can go on any of the piles, it's fine. But if it can't, you've made a mistake, you put it in the discard pile, and you take away one of your fuse tokens. And if you make 3 mistakes, everything blows up. If you do happen to get it right, you put it on that pile, and you scored another point for the end of the game. Now, you can always discard. When you discard a card, you get to get a clue back.
Okay, so it's important for everybody to help each other, otherwise they all blow up.
Exactly, and you
It's
don't
a good
get
way for
very
team
good score.
building and different companies.
Yeah, because they all have to work together. The game really benefits those who have good memory and deductive reasoning skills.
It also sounds like it would help build those skills.
Yes,
Definitely.
absolutely.
Because you're young, right?
Oh, yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 16.
Okay. And do you play this with your friends?
This is actually the first time I've heard of this game. I've seen it around and he's talked about it, but I've never played it. And learning and doing the PowerPoint for this was a lot of fun. And I learned, and I'm hoping I get to go home and play it later today because it sounds like a lot of fun.
That's great.
So yeah, by the end of the game, you've gotten so many cards down on piles, and at the end of the game, once the draw pile runs out, everybody gets 1 more turn, and then you count up. And depending on how many you get, it in the rule book it tells you how well you've done. And for example, like there's a 21 to 24. And on Silver Chain Games Facebook page, I have this PowerPoint posted as well. From 21 to 24 is amazing. They will be talking about it for weeks. And that's really hard to get to.
Up to 24?
Yeah, 21
Does
to 24.
everybody throw out the cards when they blow up?
No.
Oh, okay.
They get to play the game again and again. Typically, people will get between 16 and 20 points, and that's excellent, crowd-pleasing. And 25, I've never seen.
Wow. That sounds like fun. What other type of games do you have on your site?
Well, I try to focus on party games that require a lot of interaction between people. There's so many games out there that are just like multiplayer solitaire. You're just playing the game and other people just happen to be playing it with you. There's a game called Werewolf. It's an old party game. Lots of different people print out different versions where you get a bunch of people at a party and everyone's a villager except 2 people are sneakily being werewolves that are killing people during the night. During the day, all the villagers have to get together and decide who they're going to lynch during the day, and they hope that they catch a werewolf. And then the game ends.
Is that why your Facebook page is called Silver Wolf Games?
Okay, that's an interesting story. And this is a cautionary tale for anyone who's starting a business and trying to get their name in place. I knew that the name didn't really matter because if you do your job well enough, you build the name. and everybody gets to know the name. So I started out with Ravens Roost Games. And I sent that into the New Hampshire business, governmental business site.
Secretary of State, yeah.
Yeah. And they said, no, you can't have it. Somebody else has it.
Wow, that
And
must have been
actually-
surprising.
It was very surprising because I had looked on the internet, I had looked on Facebook, and they didn't have it. Actually, it was somebody else who had Ravens Roost something. So I couldn't use it. So what happened was, all right, I switched over my Facebook page to Silver Wolf Games without checking everywhere to see if anybody had it. And then when I did find somebody else that had it, I was like, okay, I can't do that. And then I looked on Facebook and they said, no, you can only change your name once. You can't change it again. And I wrote to them and asked them, oh, please, and I haven't gotten a reply back. So I was stuck with that web address, but I could always change the name of the Facebook page. So I changed to Silver Chain Games.
Oh, so people can still find it under
Can still
Silver.
find it. If they do a search, Silver Chain Games, they'll find it just like that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so tell us a little more about this type of gaming industry. What makes it different from, you've explained like solitaire and puzzles. I guess people can work on puzzles together and different toys.
The difference between a puzzle and a game is that a puzzle, one person who's trying to solve the puzzle has actually no power whatsoever. They're trying to put the pieces together to come with that winning scenario. Rubik's Cube, 100-piece puzzle set, 1,000, what have you. And then whoever set up the puzzle, well, they have all the power. They know what the puzzle is. They know how to work it. They know how to do it. A game, typically both people have equal power or an equal chance to get to that victory condition. Now, the difference between a toy and a game is that a toy, you can do anything you want with. You can play with it however you want. There are no rules. And I mean, the box may suggest, oh, you play with it like this, but that's meaningless. You can do whatever you want with the toy. A game has a certain set of rules that you go by, that each people agrees to go by. And you can have some very complicated game rules and some very simple ones. But when both people enter the game, they understand that these are the rules that we're playing by, and we engage that way.
Which is great.
Yeah.
You have to follow the rules of a company, and you're the manager for this
Oh,
business, correct?
Yes.
So games help with competition, interaction. How does it help with escape when you're playing with a group of people?
Well, what it is games are ultimately entertainment. You go to work, you come home, and you watch TV, or you go out skiing on the weekend. There's lots of different forms of entertainment out there, and they all help us to get away from the humdrum of life. Games, that's one of the things that games do for us. It helps us to escape from the humdrum and actually interact with our fellow human being in playful exercises. They do help us to push one another to excel mentally. Sports help physically and a little mentally. Games are almost entirely mental in how we can push each other to excel and grow.
That's true. So Rachel, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get involved?
For me personally, when I was younger, my dad taught me how to play this game called 10 Days in the USA, and you're trying to build like a travel plan. You're trying to go from one state to another all across the country, and there are rules obviously to go with it. And that helped me learn the states when I was in first grade. It helped me learn the states, helped me learn what they are, and it helped me like mature, I guess, if you want to say, because I was able to work and cooperate with people at a young age. And my dad is the whole reason I love gaming, and it's the whole reason I'm here with John today. But I think that if I didn't have gaming, I wouldn't know where I'd be. I'd be a completely different person.
What's your background? What are you studying now?
For me, I'm still in high school. There are a few career options I'd like to do, but no matter what, I'm always going to love gaming.
Right. But you build web pages, you were telling me earlier.
It's not something I've learned yet. My dad's a software engineer, so I could always say, Dad, teach me coding. And I've thought about it many times. But I like to watch people. Like websites, there's fun. Like you can do anything on a website. You can make it however you want. It's creative freedom that you can share easily, especially with technology today. And I mean, it may or may not end up be what I do when I'm out of high school, but it's always a potential for me because I've grown up with computers and learning how to do them, and I've had a computer class every year in school, so it's part of me, and I have a lot of fun with them.
So what I want to know is, being that involved in modern day technology and feeling really tech savvy, do you look at these games and want to play them, or do you think they're old fashioned?
Oh, no, they're not old fashioned. I mean,
how does it help you as a young student who is really involved in technology interact with other people, like with your friends, when you play card games or board games?
For me, not many of my friends like playing. They're more of a European style game. Not many of my friends like playing these types of games. I've introduced a few of my friends to them, but they seem interested, but then that slowly dies away. I personally find that, because when I was in first grade, my dad would take me to a gaming kind of club thing, and it was like, there was once a week, there were a bunch of grown-ups, everyone was playing games, and it was a lot of fun. I found that to help me grow up at a young age. I was able to have a conversation with an adult better than I could a child at that time. It flowed better, and I was more mature by the time I was in middle school than everyone else in my grade. And
so did it make you fearless in the asking adults more questions about different things or different things that were going on?
It helped me understand them. I was able to comprehend them better than a normal first grader or second grader would be able to. Because, first grader is running around trying to learn how to count in high numbers, and it's just their comprehension skills are lower, and by being able to have a conversation with an adult as I am now as a young child, that helped me be able to understand more adult things and helped me grow faster. And I find I'm more mature than a lot of people in my grade still today.
Absolutely.
If I can-
well, let me just ask one question. What do you enjoy about being a manager at this?
I like working with John. I like working with games. I mean, games, like I've grown up with games. They're a lot of fun. I like helping him build PowerPoints. I like helping him play games. It's a lot of fun, and I think this company is going to go very far.
Great. Now, is your store online only, or do you have a storefront as well?
I don't have a storefront. My business is mobile.
Okay.
What I do is I do have an online site where I can sell games, but what I prefer to do is do game parties where I get to introduce people to these games. I get to demonstrate them. We have a fantastically fun night of playing all of these games. I have lots of demonstration copies. And at the end of the night, if people want to purchase the games, I have them for sale.
Fantastic. And what's your website so people can get more information?
Other than my Facebook page, it is mkt.com.
We'll put it.
mkt.com/silver-chain-games.
Okay.
And
We'll put it up on the screen to make it easier.
I also have silverchaingames.com, which will redirect to that, and that's my sales site.
Okay. And can people book parties with you?
Absolutely. Give me a call, send me an email.
What area do you service the most for hosting parties? Which area?
Oh, I'm in Nashua, New Hampshire, and so I can go to any of the outlying
areas.
Manchester, Derry, Hollis, even northern Massachusetts.
Oh, great. And do people save on taxes by ordering from you because you're in New Hampshire?
Yeah, New Hampshire doesn't have any sales taxes, so yeah. So I don't charge taxes.
That's great.
My stuff, yeah.
Awesome. And what else about this business should people know? What's influenced you to be in this type of business?
Well, it's going back to like when I'm 5 years old. I don't want to take too much time to go through that.
You have plenty of time. Tell us it all.
As a young child, I wasn't as socially astute, and I didn't hang around with a lot of people, but I really wanted to. And I found games were a great way to be around people, to be engaged with people. It was the fun of competition. Nothing was really risked or lost or won. As I grew up, I still played games, and because I did, I saw new and better games coming out, and I was always fascinated with them. Now, what I'm finding is that board games are coming back a lot because so many people are behind their cell phones that they're communicating more, but they're not connecting as much in a real face-to-face way.
Right. Do you find a lot of families play these games when you host parties?
Absolutely. And if parents want to engage more with their children, a game is a great way to do it. Lots of laughs to be had. You actually speak with your children instead of having, they can put down the cell phone.
Now, are you able to recommend games that would help with counting or, like she said, with the states or learning different things like that in school so that, we don't really know we're learning anything. We just have fun doing it.
Oh, absolutely. And games are always teaching. Every game is always teaching. Even if it's just as simple as good socialization skills and turn taking. There are games, also by R&R Games, is a game called Attraction, which uses magnets. And these are very good for, don't swallow magnets, but, young children. You just toss out the magnet and hope it collects, other magnets because you set out all the magnets. And then at the end, you have to count them to see who won after you've collected so many of the magnets. And then Hanabi is very much a logic game, deductive reasoning game. It expands that part of the mind, exercises it. There's a game called The Great Dalmoody, which helps with numbers and counting and things like that.
Great. I think this game would also help with reading other people's social cues in their faces.
Definitely.
Because they're looking at the back of the card. So you're looking at the other people to find out, how they're looking at your cards.
Well, one of the rules of Hanabi is that you're not supposed to give those clues because it brings dishonor to the game.
Oh.
Because, one of the things about the game, especially for giving clues, you need to know what the other person knows. So at any time, you can ask another person.
So it teaches you how to have a poker face?
What do you know? Yeah, sure.
Basically, yeah.
You can always ask another person, what do you know? And they will tap their cards and say, well, this is a number 4, and this is green, or whatever they happen to know.
Right.
But if they're wrong, if they've forgotten, you can't give it away with your facial expressions. If they're right, you can't give that away either. That's just a mechanic, so that way you don't give them the same information twice when you're giving them a clue. So you're not supposed to.
Oh, very good. Good point. So tell me about the books that influenced you in the gaming industry.
In the gaming industry, probably the most influential book that I've ever had, The Art of Game Design, A Book of Lenses by Jesse Schell. Now, this book actually goes through lenses. What they really mean by that is a way of looking at games or a way to look at the game you're creating. I try to create games myself. I don't have any published, but this has been an invaluable book and actually a fascinating read on how to look at games.
What did you find most interesting?
The very first chapter in the book says that you start off building a game based on the experience. A movie gives you an experience. A book gives you an experience. Skiing gives you an experience. A game gives you an experience. And if you set that up as your goal for the game, then that's where you need to start. So yeah, that blew my mind because I never thought of games that way, but that's exactly what they are. The second book that really influenced me in gaming is Brian Tinsman, The Game Inventor's Guidebook. And this gives a smattering of the industry, some games, a little bit of game design, how to get your game before a publisher, things like that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. If anybody wants to design a game, I highly recommend both of these books. Personally, my favorite series of books is Roger Zelazny's Nine Princes in Amber, or The Amber Chronicles.
Oh.
Love those books. And Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles. Those are my two favorite sets of books.
Fantastic. Those could lead you to gaming.
They
There's a lot
really,
of games played.
they just throttle the imagination.
Fantastic. And it sounds like you have a great imagination and love your business.
I do. I love explaining games to people. I love playing games with people. I love seeing the look in people's eyes when they figure out a new strategy about how to win in a game. I love to see that light turn on.
Oh, that's exciting. What's your favorite book of all time?
I read too much to have a favorite book. A book series I just read was Birthmarked. It was a trilogy, and that was like a futuristic, kind of like, it's really hard to explain, but it follows the story of a midwife, and it kind of just takes a different twist on things because there's so many different aspects about the story. Then like you compare it to today and compare it to then, and it's like 20-something plus years in the future, so you can compare how it's going to go. And I don't remember the author's name, but another series I like is Rick Riordan has this huge collection of books. So there's the Percy Jackson series, Kane Chronicles, and there's another one.
I love all that stuff.
And they all intertwine, and I love the mythology of it. I love reading about it. It's modern, but it also takes back the mythology and like the ancient Egyptian, the Greek, and the Roman mythology, and it all intertwined. And it's I love that series as well.
That is a fun series. I love all those. So that's great. So you guys read things that make you keep asking questions,
Absolutely.
seeking out further answers. Love it. I love your business. Is there anything else you'd like our viewers to know?
Get out from behind the cell phones, get out from behind the computer screen. Silver Chain Games is based on the slogan, bringing people together face to face. The more technology there is, the more there is a need to get back to people.
Fantastic. That's a good motto. Until next time, keep asking questions. The answers are out there, and you might find the perfect gift to influence your friends and have a really good time. We'll see you soon.